How much have the rules changed in hockey, in the jungle? Because that was kind of the appeal to the jungle, right? Like, especially in the early days of kind of that minor pro hockey, was you were going for the fights, right? And a hockey game broke out. I think as DJ says, or something like that.
It's true though. Like, especially in the minors, right? Like, it's always been tougher and like a little greasier in the minors, and you'll see a little bit more going down. But just in general, and like in sports in general, it's just society's getting a little softer, and I think fan bases also are getting like, there's a lot of people that are like, whoa, that's a little too much, or they don't really understand what's really happening, or why it's happening. But there is like a certain level of like self-policing that happens with the fighting in the game, and you see the difference between college hockey and pro hockey, and way more guys getting slashed, way more guys getting dirtied. And it's like, if you bury a guy from behind in college hockey, well, now I got to bury one of your guys from behind. That's kind of how it gets sorted out, rather than you bury, my guy from behind, and I'm on the ice, we just fight it out. And now it's like, okay, and you're in the box yelling at each other, and the guy's like, all right, well, I hit him from behind, sorry. And you're like, all right, well, you fought me, all right, we're good, all right, let's go and play hockey.
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
It's done. Right?
Whereas
like, it just kind of keeps escalating without that kind of like, fighting is, as strange as it may sound to some people, it almost de-escalates a situation, like it's like you can kind of just bang it out, that respect happens, then you're like, all right, we're done, let's move on.
Well, I love that documentary, Ice Guardians. I've watched it like amazing. Multiple times, right? Yes. Especially because Parks plays such a huge, is one of the stars in that film, and there's so many just fucking lethal dudes that are on that film, right? From
all walks of life too, which is so cool. You got like Ivy League guys that became tough guys. You got, like guys that went to Harvard or Princeton. I think, so it's pretty cool to see the difference in guys that have been fighting their whole way, guys that went to college, and then we're like, hey, I got to fight to move up, and they all end up running into each other, and they all respect each other. There might be a couple guys that probably I'm sure there's a couple guys that might have hung on to something throughout that, but at the end of the day, we're all keeping each other employed. That's one thing I always say. It's one thing I'll always say is if it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't have a job. So, that's a whole other aspect.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that documentary does a really good point, or makes a really good point of like, okay, they're trying to eliminate hockey or fighting in hockey, so it appears to be a safer sport, but it's really made it more dangerous because guys are more willing to do some dirty shit on the ice, right? Some tripping, some slashing, some stuff with the stick, like there's nobody that's going to pay the man, right?
It's just basically like, oh, well, I'll just sit in the box for 5 minutes, or I'll go sit in the penalty box. There's no like real consequence. There's no fear that's like, hey, if I really hurt this guy with an elbow to the head or something, I don't have to worry about Parks coming out next shift. And maybe I sit in the box for 2 minutes, but I'm not worried about Parks coming out and taking my head off next shift. Whereas like that thought will prevent that dirty hit from happening in the first place. But then Parks doesn't even have to fight. And nobody's getting elbowed in the head.
Well, imagine him standing outside of your team bus, getting off at Pepsi Center or Ball Arena, whatever you call it, and Park standing out there saying he's going to Uzi the bus. You know what I mean?
Oh my God!
And I think he was, serious, but like, it wasn't only on the ice, right? It's not when just the cameras are on, right? Yeah. Do you adopt some of those tactics too? Like,
I'll like lean into like a little bit of like the warm up stuff. Like I'll yell at a guy and I'll just let guys know, like, hey, I'm here. If you're going after my best player on the ice, then it is what it is. You're going after my NHL contracted guy, I'm the next guy on the ice, and it's a little bit of psychological warfare, honestly, and it works, and it almost, it's not even to create violence, it's almost to prevent it. If I'm in warm-ups and I tell a guy, you go after one of my goal scorers, I'm going to take your fucking head off tonight. and it is what it is,
right.
And then guess what? Nobody's getting their head taken off, and nobody's hitting my goal scorer. And we just play hockey, and it works, a lot of the time. So I think you just kind of learn over the years of how to kind of tote the line, and you don't want to cross it. Like my biggest thing is too, like, the game is changing a little bit. You got to respect these guys. There's, in my league, there's guys that are on NHL deals. Like I can't go, to give respect to the game of hockey, I can't go after a guy that's on an NHL deal on the other team. You know, like I won't do that. Like it's kind of makes me look bad in a sense, right? But I'll make sure to let, you know, if they got a tough guy on the other team, I'll let him know, hey, you better keep your guys in line, because if not, I'm coming for you. You know,
Right.
so it's, you kind of find ways to do it. And like I said, the game does change a little bit where, you know, there's still a code, there's still a mutual respect, and you still got to respect the game. But you also still want to like protect your guys and make sure everybody knows that, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to be the one coming through the door first, not these guys.
Yeah, it's you know, like you said, keeping your own team in check too. And I think, Derek, why don't you pull up, look up Daniel Amesbury, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mic'd up on like YouTube or something. It's awesome because it's like you getting your team pumped up, a little bit of this warm up stuff. Like I urge anybody to go and watch it, but I would like to watch a little bit of it here, dude. I'm such a fan of this. So do you see like this? I mean, because this is happening in the jungle and at the pro level already, do you see the NHL maybe starting to adopt this back a little bit? Because I feel like they've kind of understood, like when it comes to viewership and stuff like that. Like I don't watch as much hockey.
No, and I think honestly, like my thing is this: like this is who I am. Like I am being authentic. This is what I want to do. I see the value in playing this way, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody out there. I'm just trying to keep the game honest, right? And I do think that the pendulum swing is on. Like it's coming back. Like you can see it happening. There's guys like Matt Rempe in New York. He's doing a great job. He's fought everybody in the league, just a young kid coming up. So the pendulum's on. I think it is shifting back. And I think the NHL, though they will see the ratings go up. I'm sure they'll see the New York Rangers is getting way more views than they were. So yeah,
this is awesome. Who puts these together?
So this was one of our guys in Danbury, True Crew. He does lots of hockey content.
Can you give us a little volume?
And
thanks, bro.
yeah, so like, you know, he shows the whole thing, like us having fun warming up, and it's a pretty cool like insight for the fans to kind of get to see what it's like to prepare for a game and whatnot.
Hell yeah. Yeah, this is the part I was talking about. You warming up your own team, putting them on the boards a little bit.
Yo, Campbell. I'm not going to do that if I don't get slashed. You know what I mean? I didn't slash. You ran into me. You got caught. That's fine.
So I buried him pretty bad the game before because he went after, he hacked me. And so I was just letting him know, hey, I'm not going to bury you like that if you don't hack me.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So it was respectful conversation. He said, hey, I didn't mean to, whatever. And this is my buddy, one of my good buddies.
Let's go, boys.
My parents are in town, so I said I'd fight him game 1 for my dad, and I'll take the night off on game 2 for my mom.
Hell yeah.
Here it is. Let's go, Jay. Let's go, hey.
That's awesome, man. It looks like so much fun.
Yeah, I mean it is a blast. It's kind of my second kick at the can.